Ladies and gentlemen, it's prime time, grind time, up and down, all night long at your mama's house. I'm your host, Listedez. Today's video is going to be about how to be more deadly in PUBG. Let's get into it.
Two more guys, three more guys.
Yeah, that's the same team we saw earlier.
I'm knocked. God damn it, he's right there on that ridge. Fuck.
Downfield. Nice.
One of the biggest advantages you can have in PUBG is the ability to hear your enemies approaching. If you've got other stuff playing in the background, either a TV show, music, or you aren't using a headset, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. A massive part of my game is using the information given to me by enemies using sound, whether it's approaching footsteps, the shuffling of someone crouching or prone, doors opening, clips being reloaded, vehicles driving around, or grenades being thrown. Being on top of your in-game sounds will separate you from the rest of your squad. If you can decipher these sounds, it's practically like having ESP. Crank your in-game sound up and your buddy that talks too much down. It's time to become a sound whore. Loud and ineffective team communication can be a huge burden on your ability to keep tabs on an enemy you're listening to. Quickly disable team voice chat if you need to by pressing Ctrl-T. Different ways of shooting. Familiarize yourself with different weapon systems. Take the time to learn each weapon system in and out of a combat setting. Knowing the capabilities of each of the weapons in PUBG will pay off. Find which one fits your style best and master it. If you've ever watched some of the top streamers in PUBG, you'll know that having a full auto select doesn't mean that you have to hold down the trigger until the clip empties or the enemy's dead. Using short bursts at medium range, full auto, can give you a few rounds in a tight grouping and spell trouble for your targets. Flanking. Throwing flanks into your game will give you the element of surprise even after a fight starts. You hear a lot of players in PUBG talking about being aggressive and taking the fight to your enemy. You can use a flank in many situations to catch your enemy off guard from an angle they aren't expecting. This can give significant advantage to your team in winning that fight. Flanking, a flank aka a hook, is a tactic used to gain a positional advantage over your opponent. An easy example of a hook, and one that I utilize most often, is a scenario where either myself or my team has engaged a target, at which point I would use any form of concealment to break from my original position and quickly advance to a position that had a more advantageous angle, like from the side, or even better, from behind. There are two things that are very important when hooking that I can't stress enough. The first is that a hook is meant to be performed quickly. Taking your time while performing the hook means that more time the enemy has to reposition themselves. If they're dialed in on the spot you just placed from, it'll only take so long before they start looking for you in other places. The second is that a hook is best utilized from stealth. Make sure that when you displace from your original position that you aren't seen. If you are, the enemy may catch you in the middle of your flank, which probably means you just lost your life and the whole fight. Aim for the head. This is basic knowledge, and when you start playing shooters, one of the first things you learn is to go for headshots and to keep your crosshair at head level whenever possible. If you know where someone is peeking or about to emerge from, put your crosshair at head level so all you have to do is pull the trigger. Headshots in PUBG deal 250% damage. Take advantage of the free damage. You should be practicing for headshots whenever you can. Every time you intentionally try for a headshot rather than spraying, you'll be training yourself and your muscle memory to hit the shots you want rather than a typical spray and pray. In the top right, I'll link a video that breaks down all the different weapon damages against armored and unarmored targets. Go check that out if you haven't. Keep your smoke game strong. Smokes are a great tool and are often underutilized by players in the land of PUBG. Whether you're picking up a downed player or looking to cross some open terrain with no concealment or cover, smokes can be used in a variety of different ways. How many times have you blamed circle RNG for your loss? How about getting shot in the head picking up your boy that's always getting knocked out? Smokes can provide you with some extra wiggle room in those high-stress situations. There are a variety of situations where having a bag full of smokes will help you become less vulnerable. Some other examples of utilizing smokes are things like smoking off loot piles, crates, or vehicles that are potentially being camped. Smoking off doorways and other angles of approach to gain the best possible concealment. Smokes can be a great tool in the art of deception. In small circle, throw a smoke to the right and flank left. People are watching where the smoke is popped and are most likely targeting that area. Looking to push a room or a corner that an enemy is holding? Sometimes just hearing a pin pop on any throwable and hearing that tink-tink sound as it hits the ground can be enough to dislodge even the biggest camper from his hidey hole in fear of being blown up. The art of deception is another key to victory. Use your smokes. Know your character. It's one thing to be a good shooter and another to know the weapon systems and the maps, but how well do you know your own movements? Taking the time to familiarize yourself with the different functions of how your character moves is an essential part of getting good at PUBG. Jump all the obstacles, run around and prone behind different forms of cover. Q and E, strafe here and there, practice 360 jump punching people in the head during the lobby. The more you use every movement function, the more muscle memory you will build and become increasingly more fluid in-game. This will help you improve multiple aspects of your PUBG game, including, and most importantly, your gun game. Use tactics that people haven't seen before. Don't use the same strategies as everyone else. Don't wait for someone to show you a method to kill someone. Come up with your own style, and your enemies will be dead before they even understand what happened.
Oh no.
I hear constantly that people die because of lag, and unfortunately that's a really poor excuse. I know how frustrating it can be playing with 10 FPS. I played Arma 3 on 10 FPS and it was awful. There's always ways to play, even if you're lagging. If you're having FPS lag that only you get clean one taps on your targets, spraying is going to be your bread and butter. And while that's not the most efficient way of killing people, you have to work with what you've got. One of the best ways to kill people when your computer can't keep up is being close quarters with your target. Let them push you and start shooting early. It's counterintuitive to everything else we've talked about in this video, but when I had a computer that was lagging really bad, placing my crosshair around their knees and spraying up was usually the only way to do it. The recoil will raise your crosshair up across their chest and finally to the face, ensure lots of damage and usually a kill. Throw in a crouch if you can, and with any luck, you'll emerge the victor.
I don't know that guy that was on the 345. No, there's another guy. Mark 30, two guys, Twisted coming in, another team.
Yeah, I see him.
Coming across the right side. What's your left, Twisted? Alleyway left.
That's all we got for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If we get 100 likes, we'll keep putting out more content like this. Tell me in the comments if you guys learned something or if you already knew most of this stuff in the video. Thanks very much, and we'll catch you on the flip.
Yeah, I heard that. It's Westy. His boyfriend. Holy
Damn.
get fucked.
Woo!